Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
"60 entrants, 6 tracks, and a 4,200 strength of field. Welcome to the opening round of the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup Championship Season 6, live on Apex Racing TV. I am Sam Fitzpatrick. I have got alongside me Austin Knight in the commentary box. Luis Araya is bringing you this stream on our YouTube channel. And we have got an exciting season coming up, the most competitive Apex Racing League series ever, and it's designed to be a perfect preparation for the Porsche Esports Super Cup qualifying series happening every week over the next month and a half. We are going to be bringing you all the action over the next 6 weeks or so on Apex Racing TV, and we start off at the Hockenheim Ring circuit, the National A layout, still incorporating most of the legendary corners, but we just miss a little bit of the turn 6 hairpin, but we have a different hairpin to put to use for tonight instead. Austin, this is gonna be exciting. Like I said before, this is the most competitive field we have ever had on Apex Racing League, one of the most competitive fields we've ever had in Apex Racing TV history, honestly. These guys are absolutely insane quality, and we are going to see some of the best racing I think you're ever going to see on iRacing.
Yes, this certainly is. This is the best opportunity for these drivers to get a taste of what the Porsche Esports Super Cup qualifying series will have for them this weekend. Qualifying opens this Saturday for that Road to Pro series. So if you're interested in giving that a shot, you have that. But for all these drivers right here, this is basically Porsche Super Cup, well, the Road to Porsche Super Cup road, as some might say. But yeah, National A, we are running a different layout. The hairpin is much wider this time. It's a double apex corner instead of that very sharp hairpin, so not a lot of room for these guys to be really making these dive bombs, and the much smaller nature of this course is going to be making setup options for these drivers a lot less focus on top speed, because if they do run that top speed setup, they're going to be burning up those tires, because there's not a lot of places to really let these cars go. So it's going to be very impressive to see how these drivers attack this small and twisty course here at Hockenheim Ring. And I believe we have last time we ran the Porsche Cups here on Apex Racing TV, we had a very interesting championship, right, Sam?
We sure did, and it was the RPC Esports drivers who managed to take the 1, 2, 3. Christiansen, I believe, scored something like 40 more points than Strom in the last round to take the championship right at the last. He has got the car number 1 on his machine for this season, which I think he was quite pleased about, and they will, I'm sure, be very strong. You can just see on the Pro and the Pro-Am, that is the rating they have got this season. And basically what I wanted to demonstrate there is that James Parker, 5th place last season overall, he's a Pro-Am. This is how competitive this field is, that even very good drivers like Tom Minot as well, he's an amateur driver for this series. It's absolutely insane quality is this championship, and so yeah, we have going to be a lot of competition for Christiansen. Dare I say he's probably not the favourite for this championship. There are so many big contenders, many of which I'm sure many of you viewers will not be familiar with, but I'm sure we will get very familiar with them as the races go on. And just a rundown of the format then for this season. The drivers are just kind of going out for a qualifying session. Like Austin was saying previously, this is designed to perfectly replicate the Porsche qualifying series. So we got an 8-minute lone qualifying session where the drivers can set a maximum of 2 laps in qualifying. We then head into a 30-minute race one, which is going to be almost identical to the event on Saturday, and then we have a 20-minute race 2, which has a reverse grid, mainly designed to practice race car. And by the way, I say minutes, it's actually laps, but it's going to be around 30 minutes for race 1 and 20 minutes for race 2. So, I mean, it's quite a contrast, I think, between the 2 races. Austin, that first race, absolutely, you want to be dialed in. The drivers have done loads of practice, but for race 2, with that reverse grid, it's a little bit tricky to prepare for stuff like that.
Yeah, the first grid being the longer race and the race that is the more simulated of the upcoming event. I would say a lot of people's eyes are going to be focused on that first race. The second race is going to be a, well, just try to have the better race. If you didn't have a good race in race number 1, you still got race number 2. But race number 2, it's kind of like we're ending the night off with a bang with the sprint race at the end of the weekend, then the feature race at the start of it. F1, you might want to try that style out. Might get even more crazy, but this is the first time I've ever knowing the shorter race being at the end of the event day than the feature race.
Yeah, it's fairly unique, isn't it? As we see, I mean, this is the competitiveness of these guys. Christiansen taking a 1x to start his lap, trying to open up that final corner as much as possible and get a nice run down the pit straight, which isn't even that long, but these guys are just fighting over hundredths of a second, and so they are going to try to do that. Christiansen using all the space, albeit that doesn't seem to have gone very well, does it, Austin? I think he may have picked up a 1x, and that's his first lap in the bin.
Yeah, it really is, and that is definitely not the way you wanted to start off today, because, you know, every lap's going to count here. You only got 2 laps to do in these qualifying, and if you pick up a 1x, that's just it. That's it. There's no holding back. There's no stepping away. There's no regaining that lap back. And if the tires if you abuse these tires and you don't do well on them, it's going to be even worse for you. As we are looking at all the way through our drivers right here. This is Moldovan coming through that final corner here at Hockenheim Ring. Such a fantastic final corner. Double right-hander as we get our first times onto the board using all the track for the Walk Racing Esports driver. And Moldovan jumps up into second place. Doesn't take pole, doesn't snipe pole. That is currently being held by Andreas Meyer. And Meyer, the 124.15, is ahead of 3 pros right now.
Yeah, that's mighty from the Norwegian. A couple of Norwegians up in the top 2, and a good representation as well with 3 others in the top 10. And they got Berens and Yestenbakken. Honestly, that nation is so good at sim racing right now. Still many of the drivers yet to set a lap time. However, Mads Johansson, in fact, lots of the pro drivers, in fact, Michael Yanni and Matej Stobek, which are 2 of the highest iRacing drivers, I think they both got their first laps invalidated. Lots of the pros did, in fact, so they're really pushing the off tracks, it seems, and not nailing it. I mean, making mistakes on their first laps, and it does put a lot of pressure. And we've got 43 cars out here tonight. I think the heat deterring a few. We did have the season sell out at 60 cars, but only 43 turning up today. but you don't want to be at the bottom of the 43. That's going to be a very long evening, especially seeing that the reverse grid is only 10 drivers, so you really need to be up in the top 20 in qualifying to really have a good chance at getting within the reverse grid for race 2, as Maya goes even faster, 1.5 tenths clear of the rest of the field. But watch that time tower make a lot of changes as Penn goes 3 tenths quicker.
Leon Penn jumps up in there with like 3/10, and that gets sniped away by Janny. Here comes the pros after that 1x fiasco that most of them got. And, well, actually, yeah, all these drivers are now just hopping in here. Now we're just going to get the real big gunners right now. But, yeah, with a grid of over 40 cars, I believe this makes it the biggest first round of any Apex Racing Academy, Apex Racing League race there has been.
I feel like the GT3 trophy from earlier in the year might rival
The old record belonged to the Formula V series on round 1 with a grid of 45.
You see, I put that out of my memory, Austin.
Now, that wasn't the amount of size that ended that series, because I used to be in there and I left halfway through.
That's not the amount of drivers who got through turn 1. I think it was the case. That was craziness. Hopefully we have a better turn 1 this time round. In fact, I said 43 before. It's actually 45 cars, albeit a few of them have not set lap times. But the only driver I'm seeing who hasn't put in their second lap time is Paul Joseph Clist and Maxime Marriott. Everyone else has put in their times. They got 8 minutes. We've still got 2 minutes to go. But it's low in qualifying. The conditions are static. There's no advantage in waiting. You may as well go out there. But maybe a word of advice in the future rounds, guys. Maybe you leave a bit, and then you got more likely to get shown on the broadcast. Just a little bit of a word of advice, albeit it does sort of load up the pressure when you know everyone else's times. Can Clist move up the order at all? He is crossing the line right now, and he stays in 41st position. James Chapman, I'm not sure if this is a legitimate lap. It is not. Maxime Marriott is the only other driver. I think Marriott might go up a fair few places here. He crosses the line. The pro driver's a little bit out of place at the moment.
Oh, yeah.
He moves up to P8. That's a good effort there for Marriott. And that's where you want to be starting in race 1, because it gives you a good chance at reverse grid pole.
Yeah, reverse grid pole is always going to be impressive right here. P10, you're going to have a good run into turn 1 as we were looking at PJC. Just turned around at the end of turn 2, just on their in lap. We do have 1 minute left in qualifying. We have 3 drivers not putting in a lap time. Tom Minot, Ryan Emperkham, and Fernando Torres not putting in a lap. Philip Hammer did put in 2 laps, but they were both invalidated. So 41 cars putting in a time out of this 45 car grid here in, well, race number 1 of the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup. And I got to say, I love that top right logo right there. That purple behind the Apex Racing Academy, pristine.
It's now the identifier color of this series is the purple. We've got GT3 trophy, which is the blue, and I do agree, Austin, it does look very smart. By the way, just a quick rundown of the calendar for this season. It's all the short layouts. Ask iRacing why we're going to all the short layouts, but it's still quite a good calendar. We've got Hockenheim National A, Silverstone International, so that's the new GP pits, and then you go onto the Stowe area, and the hangar straight into Stowe, and so on. Red Bull Ring Nationals, that's going to be an insane number of laps.
I feel like they were looking at the old Porsche Cup drivers and all their setups and how they were just knacking all the wings off the cars and just complaining about the tires stuff. And so there's like, all right, we're just gonna make you have wings on all these cars, take out all the straightaways, and that's pretty much what's happening here with well, yeah, it's gonna be a very interesting season, and I'm excited for it. Take it away, Sam.
Yes, it's Michael Yanni, Apex Racing Academy, up on pole position, 2 tenths clear of Leon Penn. Then it is Stokebeck, Johansson, Christiansen, who's defending champion, remember, Godestad, Gooddeal, Marriott, Meyer, Deal, Moldovan, Parker in 12th place. Meyer, by the way, top of the programs. Mays, Isaacson, Torp, Vangan, Lang, Martinson, Richard, Elzugare, great to see him back. Barron, such a competitive driver, he's down 21st. Peter Wadsworth in 22nd, then it's Utortus. Taras in 24th, I think he's top of the AMS. Then it's Yestrin Backham, Domko, Meifert, Verm, Org, Koopmans, Spalek, Yorkland, Scarrett, Moons, Jenkins, Wilhelmsen in 36th. Then it is Maldecleve, Mitchell, Horn, Chapman, Clist, Hammer, Minot, Torres, and impairing them. And remarkably, we've still got 40 seconds more of the qualifying to go. Great to see so many familiar names from other categories, single seasons and GTs, Austin, in this field.
It really is. The Porsche Cup, you know, it's the premier road series in iRacing, is the highest paying road series in iRacing. And it's obviously the most popular one and the one that everyone wants to go to be in here. And when I was getting into iRacing, I hopped into the Porsche Cup, and it was the most competitive field I've always been. And there are drivers that just always just travel to the Porsche Cup. It attracts everyone, and it's such a fun car. Well, it's time to get the green lights going, and as us are racing, as we take to the green flag here at Hockenheim to start out the Porsche Cup, and it's a 1, 2, 3, 4. Drivers taking it all their way through turn 1, and a lot of drivers knocking it out pretty wide back there. But I could say they're definitely not single file right now as they're heading into turn 2. Gianni, Penn, Stoback, your top 3 right now. Little cars getting a little bit slowed up on the outside of turn 2, heading into that double hairpin turn 3. This is where we're going to start seeing drivers starting to make some moves, but it's not like the original hairpin on this circuit. It's a much wider but tighter hairpin. So all these drivers, they might have a little bit of argy-bargy, and I think that we do have one driver. Yeah, we do have 2 drivers in the gravel on the entry and turned around right there, but overall, 43 cars have made it through that hairpin very cleanly.
Yeah, I think that was Martinson and Jotortas who had issues, but Myers got ahead of Marriott in all of that. Paul start for Christiansen, he's down 2 places, and Stokebeck getting ahead of Penn, so that was the move between 2nd and 3rd positions. But you can see how, there's a little bit of contact. I hear a bit of contact in the background. I think that's Torp and Behrens, who are teammates, I believe. I hope they haven't collided with one another.
They have.
And hopefully that's a separate instance, but that is bad news for the pair of them, and they have slipped to the back. So just to run down a few of the drivers who have had poor starts. Jotortas with a poor start, but he's still running. Torp with a poor start, he's still running. And Martinson with a poor start, he's still running. But Behrens and Hawk seem to have more serious issues as the top 2 are scamping away in the early stages. And keep an eye out on that P10 position, because that is reverse grid pole. Crucial that Ross still stays there. But Moldovan's just got past him, so Moldovan now in reverse grid pole as it stands.
Yeah, it's a 1-2 right now for the SDK Apex Racing Academy drivers. Yanni is so back. I'm pretty sure everybody over at Apex Racing Academy is going to be happy about that. I know some of the coaches that will train drivers specifically for this thing, and you know, they probably set it on to their goal to really show themselves in this series and get a good upper hand on it and get a good feeling for the qualifying series and try to get that pro license and get up into the actual series with the actual Apex Racing team members.
Yes, and yeah, they're doing that very well at the moment. 1, 2, 3 for those guys. I think we're just seeing Deal managing to consolidate that move on Moldovan, albeit I think he's going to be under pressure for the entire race. It'll be interesting to see if Stokebeck is quite happy to stay behind for most of this race, or whether he goes for a manoeuvre later on. Mainly single file at the moment for the drivers. Everyone knows this track so well. They would have been doing practice, particularly through round 1 of the qualifiers, a couple of weeks beforehand, I imagine. At least the top guys who are taking that very seriously, who want to really qualify, as many of these drivers do. And so we're seeing fairly few mistakes right now and a very consistent field. James Chapman, unfortunately, has had an issue. He started down in 40th position. We might find out exactly what happened to him. This was down at turn 2, and yeah, locking up and maybe having a more serious issue than that, having to tow back.
Yeah, lockup is never what you want, but a lockup just in that certain situation is even worse to have, and it might be a issue in the future as we're looking down the field. Goodstad currently sitting in 5th, chasing down Penn. Everybody's starting to single file out right now as the overtaking opportunities are much harder than that long straightaway run. Looking at Lucas Lang, but what these drivers are going to have to really show themselves here is just putting pressure on the cars ahead. We got a 22-lap race. It's not timed race. It is done by laps, so it's going to be a much longer race. Going to be focusing on the tires. I know if you run 0-0 wing around here, you're going to be overheating these tires very easily. So if you're running a very fast car on the straight lines, you might be lifting and coasting through. Wow, let's bring up our Pro-Am and AMS Championship race winners, Jani, Meyer, and Taras right now. The top group, looking at Victor right here. Currently sitting in 20th overall, as Anders Meyer, who is a few positions ahead of the next Pro-Am driver, is up into 8th. And Anders is really putting in that pace right there. And honestly, he's near pro pace.
Yeah, he's mixing it around with them, isn't he? He is doing extremely well at the moment. And of course, the nice thing for Meyer, if he does drop back a place or two, it's not too bad. He gets a nice reverse grid position. And of course, for the point situation, you do want to score high in this race one because there's more points available. But yeah, wouldn't be the end of the world. He might have eyes on that. But yeah, he's trying his absolute best at the moment to keep behind Marios, who was showing Taras for a while, of course, leader of the amateur drivers in 20th position. And still everyone down to about 43rd position, running just Chapman, the only retiree so far in this race. And Taras looking quite close on the back of Kevin Richard. And the drivers do score points for their overall position in this series. So if you're an amateur driver, you want to beat the pros. Heck, you want to beat the pros as well, and vice versa for the pros and the pros-am. So it is very important that these guys do beat each other, albeit it does get a little bit more personal when you're racing against someone in your own class because, of course, you're going for the championship against them. But Taras, at the moment, not able to get past Richard. And what Peter Bayman and Kevin Edds Jr. was saying earlier on about these cars is once you get to lap 4 or so, it becomes very tricky to make moves due to the tyre model. And so I think that's what we're kind of seeing at the moment, Austin, because there's not really many moves at the moment out there.
Yeah, not many very big moves here. And yeah, the tires, they do get into that big window or that opportune zone. And this is where you're going to start seeing the more experienced drivers start to pull away from the lesser experienced drivers. We've seen a few of these drivers come from Formula Series, come from GT Series, and they might not be experienced with that kind of fall off or that kind of weirdness window of this tire model. So we're going to start seeing a few of the drivers start making their moves and start making gains on a few of the drivers that might be a little bit struggling with these. And, you know, the leaders of these trains might be those drivers that are not that experienced. Heck, if you look to a few of our drivers who I definitely know come from Formula 3 Series, one of the Alcatech drivers, Matthias Martinson, that is somebody I want to be watching and seeing how they're going to be adapted to this car, because they're usually racing in a Formula 3 car from my experience.
Yeah,
they're down to 38th right now.
Yeah, he lost 20 places at the start to Martinson. I'm going to ask a lot now of Luis Arraez doing the production. I wonder if he could get a replay of that, because there were a couple of incidents at the start of the race. That was
I
so
saw
long
him in the
ago.
background, turned around in the first.
Oh no,
hairpin,
sorry, Moons and Hammer
Moons
have had a problem. We're about to come across them. That's the smoke, and there's the car.
Yep, there's one of the cars, and there's a second one. And I'm pretty sure the Alcatech team is going to hate me for this, but Nicholas Rasmussen posted in chat and began the Alcatech curse. Usually the Alcatech curse happens nearly at the end of the race. Well, this one happened at the start of the race, and that's right at the hairpin. And yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you can see 3 wide there, and then Martinson was an innocent party, wasn't it? I think that was. Oh, dear me. I'm not sure who that was. We'll learn the liveries at some point this season, guys. But yeah, there were a few issues earlier on. I think Martinson's just maybe had another issue, actually. I think
Lucas Lang has had an issue. And Alcatech and Matthias Martinson's around again, coming out of turn 2, and that's the tire model right there. Just worn out those tires already. Had that big slide. Tires get extremely overheated. And this is what happened through turn 2. He's making an overtake right here down to the inside. Is this a case of too much mustard? Oh,
I think this is Ty Mitchell he's made contact with.
I thought he might have just thought he got the better exit and covered him off right there. It looked like there was a little bit of snap at the rear end of the car, and he was just here, had that instant. But here's Lucas Lang. He's dropped down the field. This is at the Mercedes grandstand corner, and
and that was with James Parker, by the way.
Parker didn't do anything wrong right there. Lang just unfortunate right there. We need to stop talking about the Alcatech curse, but it's happened in every race. So
yeah, we've got enough beef with that. Worm versus Meifert, two German drivers, and they are teammates, I believe. Well, it's W&S Esport versus WS Racing Esports. So I'm not 100% sure. I think they are different teams, but just remarkably similar names because they've got very different liveries. And currently, it is Worm leading the way out of these drivers. 329 ahead of 342, albeit he was a fair bit slower on that last lap, so I think he might be dropping back at the moment and might be very vulnerable in a few moments. This is the battle for actually third and fourth out of the amateur drivers. Taras up in 19th position. You can see him on the timing tower a little bit ahead of these drivers, and potentially a little bit of a queue forming behind these guys. Torp and Lang and Borkland and Minots and Yotatus all catching up to this, so watch out for this battle in the 20s. I think this could get quite feisty.
Yeah, and it really can get feisty, and it's not really feisty between the top three. Apex Racing Academy 1, 2, and 3 right now. It is the sponsor. It is the title team right here in the Apex Racing Academy series, though. All three of these drivers are part of, I believe, the official Apex Racing Academy. There are drivers in the academy like PJC who run under that name, and then there are drivers signed to the academy, and Michael Janney, Stobeck, and Johansson are definitely those three drivers right there. And you can see that by their iRatings: 8,126, 8,257, and 8,568. It's funny enough, it gets higher the lower you go into that top three right there. But yeah, very excited to see what these three drivers can do, and if they can qualify for the Porsche Esports Super Cup.
We might be able to display the iRatings on the timing tower, or like the licenses for each of the drivers, and it does really demonstrate, yeah, how good they are.
Yeah, there it is.
It's pretty much what you were saying before, Austin, with the 8K plus. But when you got, you know, Torp 4.5K, Torp has had a bit of an iffy start. But I mean, Moldovan 6.1K, and he's down outside the reverse good places at the moment. Really does demonstrate 4.2K average iRacing for this series. Average.
Yeah, 4.2K average, and we usually separate drivers based on their iRating. I know, Sam, you do a lot of that work behind the scenes. What was the split between pros, pro-ams, and amateur drivers? Because I'm seeing drivers in the amateur drivers that have 2.7 iRating right here.
By the way, very good battle between Parker and Vangan, so I wonder if we could... I don't want to miss that overtake because I think this one might be good. And Vangan has got ahead of Parker, by the way. That's for 14th position. But in terms of the splits, for the pro and the pro-ams, it is at 5K, and for the pro-ams and the ams, it's at 3K. So we've got 2.9K like AM drivers, which is crazy because usually...
Sam, I feel like this series might need a fourth class in the future.
Exactly. But for us guys, Austin, isn't it? It's the Sam and Austin
for
class.
the commentators.
Yeah.
Well, actually, my iRating is 2.5K. Thanks, Apex Racing Academy. It used to be 1.5K, but it's increased by an entire 1,000 within an entire season, so I'm very happy about that. Once again, thanks, Apex Racing Academy. But yeah, there should be a fourth class. I feel like a pros, pro-ams, ams, and gentleman drivers.
Let us know what you think the classes should be called in the YouTube chat. Funny answers are allowed.
Or ams, pro-ams, pros, aliens.
There you go. Yeah, I agree with that. There should be an aliens class. I think we can all agree with that one. Here comes
look at this, Sergio!
That is a big dive. It opens up the entry, does the hairpin. There's a little bit of contact, but he will get through nonetheless. He has to get out of the thoughts slightly. Godestad will try to respond straight away. Christiansen is just behind, but of course they are teammates, the RPC drivers. But Gurdiel with the dummy, well, not the dummy, the mugging right there. He's up to fifth.
Yeah, it was a send down to the inside. It was a very nice send by Sergio. The end of the move, though, he does carry out just a little bit wide. He was a little bit too light on the brakes right here. But you see the send. He had that set up, just went for it, got onto the inside curve. The car stepped out on him, and, well, that send turned into a block send right there. And Sergio getting ahead of Godstad and able to jump up there into fifth place. Nice job, Sergio, with that move. Pretty sure Godstat and his team are not going to be happy about that. Christensen got right onto the back end of Sergio, tried to regain that spot, but he saw that was his teammate and just thought about the overall championship. It's like, this is the first race. You want to make it to the second race because the top 10, they do get flipped. And I can tell you the top 10, that flipped race is going to get very interesting. That's a lot of curve by Jasu Algazari. Usually see him in the Apex Racing Academy Formula 3 series. As that Porsche looks a lot bruised up at the front of it. This is our AM championship.
Oh, that was Domko
leader.
going past Yesterback, and by the way, just in the background into turn 2, so good move there from him, and also Taris that got past Richard on the previous lap. So that is how he's got up into 18.
I got our first submission in the YouTube chat for our alternative 4 class names: aliens, gamers, mortals, and plebs.
Yep, there you go. Well, thanks to Brandon Dollarday, you've solved it. We will be applying that to all our leagues now. So cheers for that one. I think that's as good an answer as we're going to get. So
No,
yeah.
I feel like we're going to get a little bit better. Come on.
Okay,
keep
well,
going.
I want to see people try.
Yeah.
It'll be tricky to.
We'll have a vote at the end of the season.
There you go. Yeah. We're just moving on to lap 12 of
That's
this race now,
off
so we are
track for
over
Gardastav.
halfway. Yes, they are limited to 17 off checks, by the way, of these drivers, just like in the pretty much all the official series, but also the PESC qualifiers as well. So we'll have to keep an eye on that as the races go on. Stokebeck still extremely close. Do you think he's waiting here, Austin? Do you think he's going to pull the trigger quite soon?
He's gonna just be waiting for it. All 3 of these guys, they know that they're just going to be pulling away from everybody else. They got a 1.5-second gap at the back of this group, 210 in 4th place. They are not going to be fighting each other for most of this race. This is all just going to be just a pretty
sorry to
painful
interrupt
session
you,
for
Austin,
all
but
3
there's
of
a
them. But I must say, nearing the end of this race, the final 3 laps, it might get a bit feisty, but yeah, there is fighting going on down throughout the rest of this field right now.
Yeah, so there's a 3-way battle between, I think, Taris and Wadsworth.
It's still going on,
for a
actually, in
moment.
the battle for 17th.
Yeah, and I think
Richard
Richard
Wasser
is
is
just...
Taris
Oh, no,
actually,
there's
though.
an issue now for Wadsworth. He has dropped down. We might get a replay of...
and it's a new
hopefully part of that.
and it's a new AM lead. Domko
Yeah.
retakes the AM championship lead, and here's what happened at Wadsworth. And oh no, they're banging wheels on the outside of the Mercedes hairpin, and I believe that was Taris on the outside of the corner that turned into the inside. The back end was just a little bit loose, and they tapped into each other, which then turned into a pit maneuver. And this is, yeah, that was Taras, and that car getting a big run on him, sending it down to the inside. That is Domko. Oh, no. That's Greschenbachen down to the inside. That wasn't Domko. Luka Domko was the car ahead of Greschenbachen, but Greschenbachen getting the elbows out and well, taking that place of 4. I feel like we're going to start seeing the Porsche Super Cup aggressiveness very soon.
Well, Lang versus Verm is about to kick off, I think. I was saying earlier on how Verm was kind of holding up a few drivers. Lang's got past, and now it's Koopmans who's going to be the next one past, who I think is the top of the AM drivers in terms of iRacing as Koopmans. So watch out for him. He's very much one of the favourites for the Amateur Championship. Verm is still trying to stay in there, but he just doesn't quite have the pace of these guys. Great qualifying from Verm. Great start to the race as well, but he is dropping back a bit. And Koopmans now up 6 places from his start. He's one of the highest gainers in the field. Excellent work from the Dutch driver so far. And thought there may have been some changes in the top 10 Porsches if we missed any of the changes in the... we may have got one. In fact, this is this is one of the moves for Spalek, who has had a retirement. So sorry to spoilers, everyone.
No. You always got to leave the space. There's a car on the outside. Just it's the lack of spatial awareness at times that I've seen. And that was right in front of our top 3 leaders. We got another submission. Pro Am, and then the final class rookie. I feel like most of our drivers would not be okay with that because I feel like all these drivers are above rookie level. at least, so I would keep Rookie out of it.
And
But I understand your
Ooh.
point.
Myfertz has gone downhill.
Uh-oh.
That's a big shame. He's been in the top 3 in the AMs for most of this race as Myfertz. And that is, yeah, that is not good for him. Locking up. Oh, he's just gone too wide
He's just
there.
drifted
And he's
wide.
got
Does
one
he...
of the
Oh,
IGL
no,
cars,
no.
and then he spins. Unfortunately, he doesn't take out his teammates. But, oh, and then tries to rejoin, and is very hesitant about it. He's down to 28th place.
Luckily, didn't have another car contact, but those outside curbs, if you just get on them in this car and you already have that little bit of slip angle in that car, you're going to go around. And this Porsche Cup is not as tricky as the 991. I can tell you the 991 was a handful. It was very interesting to drive. The 992, a lot easier to drive, but it's a lot more fine-tuned and how you can attack this car around a few corners. And a lot of drivers have really liked the car. Some of the drivers who were really well in the 991, not a fan of the 992, and because they had to completely adjust their driving style, and it's kind of a weird thing. It's like riding a new bicycle. Just the bike that you were on was a 5-speed gear. The next one has 18 gears on it.
Yeah. I personally prefer the 991. Let us know what you think in the chat. I'm very much going for the chat engagement, but there's so many of you watching. Let us know, and let us know who you're supporting as well. Also, Yestrin Bakken versus Taras, round 2 is about to start. That is for 19th position. Now, I don't think that's too important necessarily, 19th position, but I feel like, seeing that they've already banged doors tonight, and has a battle which went on for a few corners, I feel like that battle for 19th may start igniting fairly soon. And yeah, Taras actually is getting fairly close right now, and might be attempting a move in the next few corners. And in fact, he has got past into 19th position now, as Victor Torres passed Yestrin Bakken with a Torp catching up behind. Still on this lap 16. Yanni's still leading the way. Top 3. Well, in fact, Johansson had dropped off in the early stages, but he's caught back up a bit now.
Johansson is the trailing car of this 3-car pack, but you can see they are really pulling away from Penn. Leon Penn didn't have the best start right there. He's dropped down 2 spots as, well, the rest of the Apex Racing Academy team pulled up as Maze is falling down from the top 10, and he's in 15th right now. We got a incident for Maze, and Antone is having a little bit of trouble right there. The 214. This is what happened to him right there of the Orion race teams. The back end of this 3-car pack. Does he get into the grass just a little bit? Oh, yes, he does. And around it goes into the wall. Oh, that is just the worst. Just a little bit of grass, using all the track, that very fast left-hander. But in this with these cars in this current tire configuration, that corner, we're going to start seeing our top drivers just start lifting away, controlling the tires through there, because if you don't, you're going to understeer through that corner or oversteer through that corner, and you're going to hit the grass. You can see a lot of curb being taken in turn 1. These cars turning into pretty much touring cars at times, super touring cars. At times, it seems like, with the amount of curbs that they're taking.
Yeah, and you've got to use the off-tracks tactically as well. You get 17, use them. Use as many as you feel comfortable. Maybe use 10 of them, for example. I mean, if you're in the lead, then maybe leave a couple spare just in case you get hit from behind. But yeah, you may as well use them because it's like an extra boost, pretty much. So it is certainly worth doing that stuff, and of course using them in the right spots. Yeah.
No, don't let the FIA see that, because that's one giant porpoise right there.
Exactly, yeah, that'll be knocking around your skull a little.
Honestly, the rallycross guys could use that jump. I got a few more lined up, don't worry.
Well, unfortunately, these aren't single-seaters, so and they're not going to get absolutely launching, but there will be a couple of cases. We're going to GP circuits this season, so there are going to be some rocket launches, I think, as drivers go flying up into the air. So yeah, do watch out for that as the championship goes on. very near the back of the field, Hawk versus Mitchell. Hawk has just got past Mitchell. That's for 37th position, by the way. And Hawk has just got past Maldecleve as well. So, Gordon Hawk in 36th place, but he is making up some moves at the moment. As this is for reverse grid poll right now, Deal versus Moldovan. Deal in 10th position. Moldovan has been about this close for the entire race. He would love to get reverse grid poll, especially seeing how tricky overtaking has been in this race one.
Yeah, race number 1 is definitely showing its skill level right now, and it's really impressive to see the amount of the quality of drivers. I'm really excited for race number 2, though, because we're starting to see the main players of this race, but how are these drivers that are being pretty conservative in race 1 going to be behaving themselves in race number 2? As Ross Deal in that reverse geared pole right now. Just a few laps remaining, and he is under pressure by Moldovan. And Moldovan, if they start in 11th place, they're going to have 3 Apex Racing Academy drivers, the 3 leaders, trying to carve their way back up through the field. He could be using them as a pick and follow them through.
Yes, yeah, that's a very good point. That 11th place isn't the worst place to start, but it's still very, very frustrating if he can't quite make this move. Sure, there'll be opportunities later on in the season, although it is a short season, so it won't necessarily. By the way, Wadsworth struggling a little bit at the moment. Is Wadsworth? He's currently in 25th place. He is only just ahead of Thomas Verm and Kim Andre Borkland. I feel like there might be a move between those 3 drivers very soon. In that, that's just outside the top 20. Here they are. So Wadsworth the Pro Am, the Am, and then just behind him Borkland, who I think was faster on that last lap or on this lap, and he's getting very close as they head on to their lap 19.
Yep, starting out lap 19 and, well, counting the laps down right here as Borkland is chasing down Thomas Worm Jr. as Worm is, well, just behind Wadsworth, but these are 2 AM drivers trying to chase down a Pro-Am driver right here. But saw a comment in the chat from Finding Pace. Everybody gets humbled back to the feeling like a rookie in the Cup car when you first get in it, though. I can't confirm that is the case. It's a different breed of drivers of the Porsche Cup, as this is a very damaged 213, getting down to the inside of the 342, defending on Alexander Scarrett from Holger, and Holger trying to hold it around the outside is unable to do that, but that is 1 damaged car. That is Scarrett ahead of him. You can see the front nose of that car. It's well, it's all crumpled up right there. And Holger in that WS Racing Esports yellow car, definitely trying to look for a move, heading into the Mobile 1 curve, looking down to the inside just for a little bit, but not actually going for it. That move right here, looking for another one into the arena. He's just filling the mirrors, and he's forced a mistake, a lockup by Scarrett, and that was what Holger was going for. Just try to force Scarrett into a mistake, fill those mirrors, and that is what happened right there. Beautiful move by Holger, and in the background, oh no, that's Hammer. Off. Just got up onto the curb off the exit into Sector 3, and it just carried him away. Oh no, that is unfortunate for Hammer right there, but very fortunate for Holger right there, who's trying to make up some spots and will be improving him. He's currently sitting almost halfway up the grid. This is Ty Mitchell having an issue. There is one of the IGL Coatings cars behind him, and this is Ty Mitchell just giving way to our leaders right there. He comes into a complete stop right there. That's one of the nicest blue flags I have ever seen. That is coming to a complete stop, though I would have done it in the Mercedes runoff area than on the side of the road, because that is pretty much on the racing line that some of the drivers use as their braking marker. But for our top 3, I think they know this track inside and out, that if they close their eyes, I feel like they could still drive this track, as they're starting to drop Johansson.
Yes, yeah, they are looking very strong, as we're going to get another replay of Antoine Mays, who's already had issues, and this has, I think, ruled him out of the race, unfortunately, coming to a stop there. Big shame on that one. Just as we reach the... Oh, as we've got an issue for Thomas Torp as well. Just down to 23rd position, albeit I think he's back going, so not too bad for Torp there, but just losing a couple of places. 1.5 laps to go And Ross Deal versus Bogdan Moldovan is extremely close. This is for a first grid pole, and I think Moldovan is up into 10th place. Here we go. Deal having to go defensive against Moldovan. Is Moldovan going to be able to get the inside for the Mercedes Arena?
Well,
He gets the slide, and he's not going to be able to make it. So the Romanian driver is going to have to play something best, but he's got
still
one and a
got
half
one
more
more lap
laps to play to try
it's
to
not
get
the end
the
of the
first
fight.
pole.
Sam, it's not the end of the fight. You're counting out like that with a checkered flag right there. No, he's still in this. Moldovan can definitely get a opportunity right there. We saw this earlier with Alexander Scarrett and just getting the mirrors filled. Moldovan can definitely try to force Deal into mistake right now. But the Welsh driver currently sitting in 10th place. Well, actually getting up into 10th place. He was sitting behind of Moldovan, but Deal jumping up into 10th right there. A little bit earlier, but Ross Deal currently sitting in reverse grid pole as it is white lap. 1 lap to go of our feature race before we head into race number 2 of the sprint. As you can see the difference in the attacking of the corner. Deal did not take the curb. Moldovan took a lot of curb right there. Moldovan getting into the draft, defending onto the inside of the track is Deal. Moldovan trying to send it around the outside, get that speed momentum, looking for the switchback right now, trying to get the nose down onto the inside. They are bumper to bumper right now. Moldovan going down to the inside will try to force it onto the outside, but you can see both of them going all the way right, trying to use all the track right there. But Ross Deal, he put his car defensively, and Moldovan gets the car ahead into the brakes, but Deal down to the inside, able to hold it around. Can you hold it down to the inside because they're going to be side by side, exiting the corner? Deal's now stuck onto the outside. He's going to have to force it around to the outside. It's a lockup by Deal. Moldovan's got down to the inside. Moldovan does clear Deal, and Moldovan does it for 10th. What a beautiful set of corners by Moldovan. He got up onto the curbs, but that run coming out of turn 2 was all he needed. He got a nice switchback out of it, got the draft, and that is what really set himself up. And that following section, of course, really helps out that car on the outside. But the car that takes the overall win right now is Michael Johnny. It's a 1-2-3 for the Apex Racing Academy. Ty Stobek Jensen and Mads Johansson. 1-2-3. Leon Penn in 4th.
Deal's got back ahead.
And
what happened?
Deal and Moldovan racing in the background. It's still drag race. Moldovan and Deal side by side. Moldovan gets 10th. What has happened?
Oh, Deal must have sent the send of all sends at the penultimate corner, I can only imagine. Wasn't able to make it stick. He was miles behind here, was Ross Deal. Moldovan actually made a mistake, so he locked up the tyre. Deal goes up the inside. He must have thought he'd got it done here, but Moldovan with really good pace. Credit to Deal there. He could have just, driven straight into Moldovan there, but he left him some room, and Moldovan survives that late mistake and gets reverse grid pole. Absolutely huge stuff right there. Whilst we are waiting for the other drivers to cross the line, we are going to go to an advertisement break on the stream. So we will be back with you in just a couple of minutes time. Go through the race 1 results and, of course, the race 2 reverse grid.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers, including Peter Berryman, John Robertson, Brandon Trano, and IndyCar World Champion Alex Palou. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Welcome back to the opening round of Season 6 in the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup Championship. We've just had race 1, and it was won by Michael Yanni. Top 3 all Apex Racing Academy drivers, Yanni, ahead of Stokebeck and Johansson. Penn was best of the rest in 4th place. Then it was Gurdiel. Goddestad starting his championship defense in fairly good style, honestly. Goddestad. Apologies, Christensen is the defending champion. Goddestad 3rd place last season, but both of them for RPC, most esports, doing well in that race. Meyer was top of the pro, and Meyer was in 9th place, and Moldovan beat Deal in that epic final lap to take reverse grid pole. Then it was Isaacson, Vangan, Parker, Alzugare. Taras was top of the Azu. Taras able to get back. Apologies, so we didn't see that move on Domko near the end, but he was able to come back from some adversity to finish top of the AMS. Then was Domko. Richard was in 18th position. And then it was Lang, Yestrumbakken, Koopmans, Jortatus, Torp, Wadsworth, Verm, Borkland, Meifert, Scarrett in 28th. Hammer, Jenkins, Martinson, Emperingham, Horn, Horg, Wilhelmsen, Behrens, Moldecleve, Kliss in 38th. There was Mitchell, Mays, Spalek, Minot, Moons, Chapman, and Torres. We won't go through the grid again for the race 2 because it's just that result basically, but the top 10 inverted. So Moldovan will be on pole position for the upcoming race. Do you think there's going to be any overtaking this, Austin, or do you think we're going to see more of the same? How do you rate Moldovan's chances? Does he have a chance at this race run?
There is definitely a chance. The leading driver always has a chance to escape the chaos at turn 1. What we saw from the Apex Racing guys in the top 5 really go single file through there, and then they start to pace the weight. Now, there is probably going to be a little bit of shuffling here. Moldovan, we know he knows how to fight and defend. So this is going to be, I would say, a more chaotic first few laps, but after the first 5 laps, I would say it's going to start to fizzle out with the aggressiveness of some drivers. But the drivers who know how to pace up the car, keep those tires alive throughout this race, are going to be the ones to watch for. It's a much shorter race, and you know, that top 10, we got those 3 Apex Racing Academy drivers, Johnny, Stobeck, Johansson, 8th, 10th, 8th, and 9th place, not in order. They're gonna be the cars to watch through here, and I'm gonna be very excited to see on how this top 10 really behaves. And honestly, some drivers in the background might have a godly start and get into this fight.
And Goddestad was not able to take the grid, so the lights are coming on. We got a hole in the grid, but it's Moldovan from the pole position. Can he make use of the reverse grid pole?
Oh, look
it's
at
a
that. We got a
start for
staller.
him. It's a very poor start for one of the Apex Racing Academy drivers, who immediately is dropping down. Maya has got ahead of Marriott as well, so not a fantastic start for him. As we've got a spinner now around at turn 1. Are they going to rejoin the circuit? I think, yeah, Penn and Maya colliding with one another after that good start for Maya just previously, and we've already got a lot of changes up in the top 10. But it's a great start for Moldovan, being able to sprint away from the rest of the field. Gurdiel is trying to make a move on Christensen at the moment. That is a fantastic start for the Spanish driver, in fact, and he is really giving himself a chance at this race win at the moment. And now it's Stobeck, who's had a brilliant start himself, up 4 places already. He's trying to go down the outside, and now it's a mistake for Maris. He's off the circuit, and he drops all the way down, and that would be a massive shame for him because he had got a very good launch, got away from the other drivers. Still, Christensen having to hold back Stobeck for that 3rd position. Stobeck being able to put him offline every single corner at the moment, but Christensen is holding on strong.
Christensen and Stobeck, very fantastic fight for 3rd place, but Stobeck and Johnny, the sea is pretty much parted away for them on that opening lap, and they're already back into 4th and 5th place. Their teammate Johansson stalled out, and off goes Christensen. Locked up early in the corner and is off in the arena section. Just kept on going right there, but oh no. Oh, that is probably the worst place to have an incident on this track because everybody is just fouled through there, and the track is just so hard to get back on there in a clean and safe manner. As we are looking back through the field, it is Moldovan, Guriel, Stovak, Johnny, Merritt, Dale, Isaacson, Wagner, Alex Zari, and Taras. Taras, our amateur leader, is in 10th place.
What a day this is turning into for Victor Taras, despite that setback in race 1, still up there. And he's ahead of Mads Johansson. He's got past Johansson in all of that. So absolutely mind-boggling.
That stall at the start was, but there's also the massive incident at the start. We have Godestad in the pit lane from that issue, and Victor Taras holding off one of the Apex Racing Academy drivers, goes a little bit wide, and here comes Johansson. Johansson has that inside line, but this corner where you see we got one car just off in the background right there. But Johansson and Taras side by side. Johansson trying to hold it around to the outside right there. And oh, Taras getting the elbows out, sending the Apex Racing Academy car across the curbing right there. But he leaves the room. But around the outside is Johansson using the off track to his advantage. The FIA would like a word with that, but he will say he was forced off right there. But Taras sending it in. We got to lock up behind him. That's Richard spinning around. And Taras holds it down to the inside of Johansson. Johansson and Taras bumper to bumper, wheel to wheel, elbow to elbow, probably throwing fists at each other right here. And they're still pushing each other. That's a little bit of karma, I would say. Johansson this time pushing Taras off the track in Sector 3. I feel like this league is going to get on very nicely between these two, but very competitive field right here. Love it.
It really is. There's a massive field, by the way, just behind Muldercleave in 25th place. I wonder if you could get images of that, because it's just like an absolute pack of cars. Look at this. Muldercleave leading the way ahead of Moons. Great to see Ronald Moons out there, very experienced driver in many different Apex Racing League events. And we might see 3 wide heading into turn 2. There's going to be such a slot because the 377 is much further than these drivers, and they are managing to drop back. In fact, I think that's Hawk, formerly at the front of this little pack. Apologies, it's now Hawk just ahead of these drivers. And yeah, I think holding them up a little bit at the moment. Is there going to be any collisions heading into the hairpin? I think they're all getting it stopped, all taking various lines under braking, and the countrymen coming super close to one another. And this battle going all the way back to Wadsworth in 34th place, who had a very poor lap too, but he is on the comeback trail. Oh, contact's in the background, I just heard that.
Yep, there's contact. There's even more contact. There's cross-country contact going on. And oh, Anton! With the big slap onto the inside, and he somehow saved that car from losing even more spots right there by ending up into the wall. But Antoine, man, getting very aggressive, hopped over to the curb, got side by side, just a little bit too much contact with the other car. That pushed him off down to the inside. New fast lap by Johansson, currently in 10th place. Here's our class leader, is Taras in the AMS race, currently leading that one. Isaacson in Pro AMS, and our overall race leader is Moldovan, still in the lead as we start crucial lap number 4. This one, those tires really start to fall away. Honestly, when we went to that camera shot, it looked like these cars were in slow motion, but Moldovan under pressure by Sergio. We've seen this move by Sergio in race number 1. It was sent down to the inside. Well, he sends it down to the inside once again. They're side by side, exiting the hairpin, entering the Mercedes Graces. Sergio around to the outside. Moldovan onto the inside. They're still side by side. And it's an inside line by Sergio. Sergio going to be using all the track onto the outside, getting onto the curbs is all of our top 4. Looking down to the inside. Moldovan trying to get back on there, but Sergio defends onto the inside as we ride out board of Matthias Stovak. Stovak looking down to the inside right now as we're entering the arena section side by side. And for second place, Sergio, well, that's a sight that he definitely wants to see, as Moldovan side by side with him right there. Deal in the background has had an issue. He's off the track right now. But our new leader of the race, Sergio, up into the lead, and he's now pulling away from Moldovan. Moldovan holding up the 2 Apex Racing Academy drivers at the top 5, all nose to tail right now. You can throw a blanket over them, and they would still have room for you in there.
Yeah, this is, Stovak has to get past straight away past Moldovan, because Gurdiel is looking absolutely brilliant. We're not familiar with Sergio whatsoever on the channel, but he is clearly very aggressive and, yeah, very quick as well. He's made some absolutely brilliant moves so far tonight. Yanni probably won't put the move on Stovak, you imagine, in these early stages, because, well, they're sorts of teammates. They are teammates, and so yeah, they're probably not going to do it. As here comes the move again, Moldovan is going to, defensive, but Stovak can go off the circuit. He'll be willing to use one of those 1Xs if needs be. He will have the inside for the Mercedes grandstand, and it is Stoke back into P2, apologies. And next up will be Yanni, who will be also desperate to get past.
Yeah, Yanni in the background, up into 4th place, and he's just following now, but he's now behind Madovan, and Michael is definitely going to be looking for a big move right here, trying to first get back into the podium spots, then get back up to his teammate. As both these opening first 4 laps, I feel like Madovan just overcooked those tires and doesn't have it within him right there. As you can see, he's just losing time in the corners compared to Michael right there and the 2 leaders.
Yeah, I think it seems to be at the hairpins is pretty much where you can make like a safe move. Everywhere else, I think, is going to be ambitious. Well, let's see. This might be ambitious. That was yeah, very defensive there from Moldovan. He's very late on the brakes. Even I thought he might even make contact with Stokebeck there, not carrying much speed. And Yanni is up into 3rd position then. So we've now got a new top 3. And, well, we'll see if Marriott's, who is a little bit under the radar tonight so far, didn't have a brilliant race one, but he is up there currently in 5th place. And he's going, trying to get past Moldovan, who's, I think, preempted that attempted move, and so he covers off the inside. Taras, by the way, just got ahead of Deal. You mentioned earlier how Deal went off the circuit, but Taras actually still trying to consolidate that overtake on him in 10th position, top of the amateur drivers at the moment. I think you'll just see him come up in the background in a moment. There he is, and Deal is well, actually coming back then. So Taras nose to nose right now. Deal still ahead, but Taz does look a little bit quicker, at least in this part of the race. Christiansen is right behind after his off. Remember, he was up in the top 5, and he is alongside Lucas Lang at the moment, who's up 7 places from his start. Lang able to hold on to P12.
Yeah, P12 is definitely looking spicy, but Lang, yeah, he's shaking his head because he was in a very good spot. But he's behind our amateur championship race leader. Koopmans is in 14th right there as we're looking down the field right now. This field is so competitive. You see these drivers in other Apex Racing Academy, Apex Racing League series, and these are the pro drivers in those series. But this series, our usual regulars that we see are in the Pro-Ams. It's an entirely new level here in the Porsche Cup, and I'm absolutely loving it. Yeah,
like I was saying earlier on, the most competitive series we've ever had in Apex Racing League. Yes, you're right.
Fourth place.
Position, very close. I feel like it's only a matter of time, surely, until Marriott makes that move. I think Moldeman's going to hold on here, though. He's got his nose ahead. He had a much better exit, and he's able to carry some speed. Into Sachs corner they go. Very banked. You can go around the outside, but then the problem is the outside just turns into more of the outside, and it gets very narrow around this next part of the circuit. Moldeman, of course, wants to hold on to P4. He's got every right to, but Marriott
makes a mistake. That's a big send by Maxine.
That was a lovely move. You can go for the surprise attack into the penultimate corner.
Nope.
That's what he's done. And now Moldeman's going to try to respond straight away into turn 1. It's tricky to make a move heading into this one. It really does narrow up. And for now, Marriott's ahead. But if Moldeman can stay in the jar, you feel like he might have a chance into the hairpin. And who's that behind? It's Thomas Vangan, top of the Prams. Oh, change for the lead as well. Stokebeck up ahead of Gurdiel, but I think they're still fighting over it. Norwegian driver takes the lead of the race for the first time.
And as we were looking at that, but Marianne Moldova did have a big send on each other. But yeah, Matthias Stobeck in the lead of the race right here. And it's an attack from Gurdiel. Sergio looking for another Sergio send down to the inside of the Apex Racing Academy driver. And he does get the move at the start, but out the end, around the outside, Stobeck holds it right there. Sergio trying to hold it around the outside, trying to force a mistake right there and trying to get his nose onto the inside, as that is Christenbakken ahead of our 3 leaders and being a very good camera car. Looking back at these 3 drivers in his rear view mirror as we find on his gearbox, looking back at our 3 leaders, Johansson, Jensen, Sergio, and Yanni.
Yeah, so close between the three of them. I feel like Gurdil has to respond straight away, but in fact he's already lost about 0.4 of a second then to Stukbeck, and so Yanni might be the next one back, because Yanni able to take the race 1 win earlier on. Stukbeck was P2 in race 1, Gurdil was in P5, and so yeah, very much performing very well right now as Gurdil, but you just feel like he's not quite got the pace of these Apex Racing Academy cars, at least tonight, as Yanni gets particularly close under braking. Yes, back, and what's he going to do here? You would think lifting off right now would be a good idea.
You're lifting off, backing away, finding a spot to pull away, so you don't interrupt these top 3 would definitely be the opportune time. But Mats Kusterbakken, he can do whatever you want right here, and if he wants to play devil's advocate, he's probably just going to be staying on the track and letting them make that move instead of him making it for them. But he's decided to pull away, just finding a safe spot to pull away and not hold himself up, not hold them up. Goes down to the inside, and it's a very unfortunate day for Kusterbakken.
Quick shout out to SDK Gaming, by the way. You might be wondering, how do we get these fancy overlays up on stream? Well, by SDK Gaming. Do check out sdk-gaming.co.uk, where you can download some live timing software, of course, our HUD as well, with many different template designs. Got a lot of customization as well, and you can also use it as a heads-up display. I know all the Apex Racing team drivers use it, and so it's brilliant for a race like this. It has a fuel calculator, which is very good for the Spa 24 coming up in a few days' time. So do check out sdk-gaming.co.uk to get yourself a 14-day free trial, as Vangan is under pressure from Johansson. Remember, Johansson had a dreadful start, dropped probably about 10 places off the line, maybe 5 to 10 places off the line. He is on the comeback. I feel like this move on Vangan is probably only a matter of time. He's got 6 laps to do.
Yeah, he's definitely looking for another spot right there. Wagner under pressure, just defends from Johansson, but Johansson charging up there as he's just trying to put some pressure on the RPC Esports 2 driver, as Stukbeck in the lead, Sergio in 2nd place, Johnny in 3rd. Thomas Torp fans are probably wondering where he went. He was sitting in the top 20. He's had an issue, and he is towed back into the pit lane. Yeah,
into the day for Torp. Although you might get back out there, to be fair. Might want to score some
5
points. Ooh, Johansson nearly getting past right there. By the way, top of the Pro-Ams, of course, is Thomas Vangan. Top of the AMs is Victor Taras once again. 2nd and 3rd in that class are Koopmans and Domko. There's quite a good chain, but I don't think there's been too many moves, to be fair, out of these drivers so far. Not too many moves down the order once again, because the reverse grid was only the top 10, so everyone was roughly in their pace order already. Shout out to Ronald Moons. Ronald Moons has gained 18 places in this race. He's gone from 43rd to 25th. Epic work from him, as Vangan has been... apologies. This is Johansson past Vangan. He has finally got past, but Vangan is not
around
getting
the outside in the braking zone, though. Johansson making a move around the outside at turn 2. And now he's defending onto the inside from Wagon, and Wagon getting onto the bumper, trying to upset Johansson right there. It's not going to work. Johansson, when he gets into that spot, he just looks forward and completely ignores it, and is planted right there. Next up, Bogdan, and P5 for Johansson, and he's got a few laps to work with right there. So I'm expecting a top 5 for Mads Johansson if he keeps up this pace.
Yeah, absolutely. He's certainly got the pace to, yeah, I think maybe top 4. Could he get top 4? It maybe would be
one step at a time, Sam. One step at a time.
Oh, Yanni's past Gurdil. Was that at the final corner? I think it may have been.
It was.
Or penultimate corner, apologies, where you have seen a couple of moves already. Gurdil was able to come back. Yanni's losing any chance at the race win right now, because he's...
this contact
and Yanni's going to go into the wall, surely, unless he's able to recover it.
He is
brilliant recovery.
He's going to get a
once he dipped
penalty,
the wheel
though.
onto the grass, he was going to head straight into the wall there once he lost control. You're right, he'll have a slowdown penalty, but fortunately not too bad once you get past the opening few laps of the race. But most likely P2 out of the window now for Yanni. I'm not sure whose fault that was. That was the awkward little kink you had before that turn. When I really dislike that little bit of the circuit, Austin.
In the situation, you gotta give the car on the outside space. He was on the curb when when contact was made. So, but there's also the racing into a very tight corner. I'm gonna have to say, sir, I'm gonna sound extremely biased because it's an Apex Racing Academy car, but there is no room for him to go. So I'm gonna have to say Sergio on that.
To balance it out, I'll say, come on, Multivan, come on, you can do this, mate, you can do this. Hold back. Johansson right here, but Johansson is a little bit too quick. Multivan has been fighting really well. Remember,
wonderful.
He was in the lead for the first few laps of the race.
Oh, no!
Contact! And that was
Johansson getting turned around. That was Vangan getting into Johansson. Johansson was forced out wide. They were side by side. Beautiful car control by Madovan to set up that outside line and stay onto the inside of Johansson. But then Johansson on the outside just kept it side by side of Vangan, just got a little bit overzealous into the corner and gave that tap and sent Johansson around. Johansson, though, still in 8th place and in that top 10 run, but Madovan's probably breathing a sigh of relief and probably sweating bullets right now. Started at first, and well, this is the tribal tribulations right here. This is his judgment to see if he can stay up there with the top guys, and he's certainly shown himself that he does have the pace to stay up there. Wadsworth and Jenkins in a fight.
Yeah, 1/10 of a second.
Didn't decide for the move.
Move into turn 2 is going to be on here. They've got Borkland only just ahead, which they might be able to catch up to. Here comes Wadsworth. He's had an exciting day, and that's an exciting move, but I don't think it's going to be a successful move. He's going to be very tight through turn 4, and Wadsworth has to play second fiddle, and it's quite a poor exit as well, so he's continuing to lose time. Now he can start to use the slipstream a bit. He's not really. He's going to the inside very early, and he wasn't able to get past. It's another lockup for Wadsworth. He's run wide at 2 consecutive corners.
Here comes
and the driver, he's down one place. It is under pressure from the driver, who's up 17 places. And who have they got behind? Godestad. He was down 22 places. Godestad will be hoping he can get past the pair of these before the checker flag is waved.
Ronald Moons and Godestad could have a big opportunity if this stays up, as here comes Godestad. Godestad looking down to the inside right here and almost sending it into that corner. But Godestad and Moons looking to attack Wadsworth, who has had multiple issues, but they're going to get a freebie right there. That is Borkland on the outside in the gravel in the arena section. And Borkland was just all by themselves, kind of in no man's land, which is kind of surprising in this series. Seems like everyone's in a pack, but oh, that's just unfortunate lockup right there. Too much mustard of speed, and then too much brake. Unable to slow that car down as they are side by side for 10th place. Christensen on the outside, Taurus onto the inside, and Taurus able to get the elbows out and Holden onto the inside and clear Christensen, who's trying for that outside move. Taurus, your AM championship race leader. Don't go. Currently in 14th, his nearest competitor in the AMS class, or I would say soon to be renamed AMS class, top AM class. Once again, any wording for our final 2 spots, separate from Pro-Am, able to put it in the comments, see what we like best. We'll have a vote at the end of the season of our favorites.
Yep, we are very much open to ideas.
White flag in the air.
Harris is, again, I just can't stress enough how well he's driven, but he's only 3/10 of a second clear from Christensen. Christensen was faster on that last lap. We might see a move. Still with time remaining, Johansson's just got past Isaacson as well. So Johansson, after that off earlier on, dropped behind Isaacson, but he has been able to get back past, or has he? I think he had to go the long way round there, did Johansson. Isaacson made it extremely tricky for him, but there was no stopping the Norwegian driver. He's back up to 7th place, and at least recovers a few points for his championship bid. Was Taras able to hold back Christensen? He was. He's 2/10 of a second clear. Is Taras a good exit there from turn 4 from the amateur driver? And it looks like he's going to take a stunning top 10 finish. Yanni getting back close to Gurdiel. Remember, he went for a move into the penultimate corner earlier on. That's kind of spawned where he went off the circuit as well. Has he got time? Has he got the pace to catch up? Because we've only got a few more corners of this race to go. It's surely going to be Stokebake up ahead, and there is not the chance for Yanni. He's too far behind. There is Mathias Stokebake out in the lead, the Norwegian driver. He had to play second fiddle in race 1. He's going to take the top honours in race 2. Stokebake wins here at Hockenheim race 2. Gurdiel manages to hold on to P2. Yanni in P3. He'll be the highest point scorer across tonight. And Taras was able to finish in P10. Vangan wins out of the Pro-Ams. Taras top of the amateur drivers. And the rest of the field are quickly coming across. There's a good bounce behind Jenkins. Is Jenkins going to be able to beat Moons and Hawk and Hammer and Scat? They're all going to cross the line with each other, about a second in between. Here they are. This absolutely massive queue of drivers. Jenkins taking in the defensive line, even though he's kind of just covering off clean air there, but just making absolute sure they hold on to this position. Moon's up 17 places. It's not going to be 18 though. Good performance there from the Ross driver to hold on to 25th at the line. Hawk and Moons were very close, and Hammer as well across the line. And we've still got this one. Is there going to be a last corner move? There's not. Nick Horn almost managed to go for it, but he would be just behind Simon Muldercleave there. Muldercleave for Sim Racing Norway takes home 33rd and 11th in the amateur class, and it'll be Ty Mitchell, the last driver to cross the line. Exciting race, exciting 2 races, Austin.
Exciting race 1 and exciting race 2. Race 2, very, very heart-pounding excitement right here, especially for Jansen, who just carved his way through the field. But that opening lap was chaos for a few of our drivers, especially Johansson, was stalled on the lap, had to bring it back up, had another incident, had to fight back up for that. But Mathias Stokebake, it's an Apex Racing Academy taking both of our top steps. Obsidian Racing getting onto the podium. Sergio Gurriel with a fantastic sense, and I'm going to be excited for Sergio throughout this season because he is very exciting on the brakes and with his attacks and defense, and I'm very excited to see what Sergio does throughout the season. Michael Yanni in 3rd, took the win, took 3rd in 2nd place. Stokebake, I think, outscored Yanni. 2nd place, 1st place, but does the 1st race score more than the 2nd race?
I believe Yanni will score, if off the top of my head, 3 more points than Stokebake today. So it'll be close. But yeah, race 1 with a few more points available.
Maxime Marriott in 4th. Bogdan Moldovan starting in the lead from that reverse grid. Fell only down to 5th place, was under pressure by Wagner and Johansson. They had their own incident. They finished in 6th and 7th. Niels Isaacson in 8th place, followed by Ross Steele. Victor Taras, your amateur race leader, I would say top am race leader, takes 10th place, which honestly, that feels like a win. If you're an amateur driver, finishing in the top 20, honestly, would be a win for you in that situation. Roger Christensen in 11th, followed by Joshua Agzari, James Parker, Luca Domko, Leon Penn, Haroldas Yatuas in 16th, Kevin Richard and Lucas Ling, your top 18 drivers. They're followed by Emil Kopmans, Thomas Worm, Matthias Martinsen, Holger Meithart, Peter Wadsworth, Jo Verdegaard Gottestad, Tom Jenkins, Ronald Moons, Gordon Hogg, Philip Hammer in 28th. They're followed by Alexander Scarrett, Kim Andre Borgslund, Jacob Bearhens, Paul PJC in 32nd, Simon Moldokave, Nick Horn, Ryan Emprigham, Ty Mitchell, Mats Gustenbach, and Hilner Van Helmsen in 38th place. Thomas Torth, Anton Mize, Anders Meyer, Martin Speak. At the end of our 42-car grid, our last 3 cars, Tom Minot, James Chapman, and Fernando Torres did not take in any parts of today's race.
And maybe being re-signed to Chelsea there.
Oh, you did not just say that.
Fernando Torres joke, everyone. Never been made before, I'm sure, for him. I'm sure he loves that comparison. I don't think that comparison has ever been made for him. I bet people didn't annoy him at school about that at all. we are going to have some chats with some judges, but quick shout out actually to Virtual Racing School, another one of our sponsors for this series. Virtual Racing School offering 50 plus data packs. I believe they cover data packs as well for the 992, but those cover both road and oval racing. And in those data packs, you've got setups, track guides, one-on-one coaching, their brilliant data analysis software, which is so useful for being able to identify where you are losing time to some of the best drivers in iRacing. So do check out virtualracingschool.com to get yourself a subscription. We have got
We got
not many
Thomas.
interviews, have we? But we have got Thomas Vangan, who's willing to join us right now. Congratulations out there, Thomas. 2 really solid results. You must be quite pleased with that one, particularly race 2.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy. Finally, a race without any problems, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that race 1, talk us through it, because it seemed like once you got through the first few laps, it seemed like everyone kind of just stayed in the same positions, mainly. You were able to make up 3 places from your start, but I mean, why is it so tricky to overtake? Because, you know, this track does have a few straights, it seems to have a few overtaking chances, but there didn't seem to be many.
No, and specifically down to T2, you can overtake, but if you run wide and use your off tracks, so it's easy to defend as well when you take off track in T1. So it's no problem to defend into T2. So yeah, it's hard to overtake on this one. So it's pretty hard.
And then your race 2 was absolutely brilliant. You went from 13th up to 6th. I think you were, you had a very good battle with Mads Johansson as well. Yeah, what was that one like for you? Because, I mean, where did you gain all those places? Was all those places in the first couple of laps, or was it gradual through the race?
I have a lot of practice on this track because Roger and Jo Vegard have some pace on this car. So I have practiced a lot this weekend and this week as well. So I don't know where the speed come from. But I think me and Mats had a little incident into the stadium hairpin, a little bit of net code. So I think he got a half spin. So I'm sorry to him for that. I'm not sure if that was my fault or his. So yeah, you'll take a look at the replay and take a look. What's fun to fight with these guys. High rating guys as well. So I think we got the P1 in Pro-Am in the second race. So I will thank Nils Erik for a good fight in both race 1 and race 2.
Absolutely, yeah, that you were involved in some very good fights, at least from what we could see. Are you going to be taking part in the PESC qualifiers? Are you going for Pro this season?
I will go against against all the other guys. I will go on vacation tomorrow. I have moved that one day so I can take part of this one. I don't have the pace to do PESC, but I will practice with the other guys in the team, prepare for PESC. So I hope the guys will do well as well.
Definitely. Well, are you setting your sights then on Spa 24 as well?
No, I'm gonna go to vacation. I will a zoo garden in my country, so I will be way off distance of my simulator. So that will have a week break.
Well, I hope that you have a very nice vacation, Thomas. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Of course, I want to shout out to you guys and produce this one, and I will shout out to my team, RPC Esports, and also I will give a shout out to EGL Coatings, fun guys to practice with, and always there for you when you ask for questions, everything the same as my team. My team is amazing, so thank you.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having a chat with us, Thomas. Best of luck for your teammates as well who are going for Pro, and we'll see you back later in the season.
Yeah, thank you.
Thomas Vangan there, your P13 and P6 finish, a really good points haul for him tonight. Top of the Pro-Am drivers, of course, in that race too. So yeah, absolutely mega results for him out there. Austin, we've got 60 sign-ups and no one wants to have a chat with us. It's absolutely shocking.
I feel like that's the PES mindset. You just go in, you go race, you give it your all, and you're sweating bullets at the end of it. You're just completely exhausted. I do know most of them are just probably just doing their own thing and just giving it their all. But yeah, nobody wants to talk at the end. None of our race leaders, they're probably just speechless at the end and like, yeah, that's a win. I'm gonna go take a bath now. But yeah, just nobody's showing up. Come on, I want to talk to you. Also, but yeah, I kind of want to see what the drivers' inputs in that lower section of the race are, who come from a different series, experience the Porsche Cup for the first time, and some of the lower AM drivers have, if we have 4 classes, once again, I'm asking this question because I really want to know what people want to say. We got pros, we got pro AMs, and we got the AMs. We kind of need that 4th class because it feels like this is a 4-class series. What will that 4th class be renamed to, or will pros just get added to better pros? What would the top class remain? Would it remain pros, or would it be changed to like challengers?
I still like aliens as the top one.
Aliens?
Aliens, pros, challengers and abs, maybe something like that.
Ooh,
I think
Pro-Am's getting a rebrand of challengers.
Yeah, I think that'd be quite good. By the way, this does give us a slight opportunity to also give shout out to Apex Racing Academy, because this isn't just a standard sponsor read as well, because obviously they are the title sponsor, but also they provide a free 1-month subscription to everyone who signs up to the series, which is really cool because it enables the drivers to get setups from which have been designed by Kevin Ellis Jr., who was I think 3rd place in PESC last season. Like, he's like basically the 3rd best driver in this car in the world. Yeah, you can get setups and tutorials and yeah, those solo tutorials, and also group coaching sessions as well, which are really good because they are free. They're parts of your Apex Racing Academy subscription. You jump into a voice channel on a Tuesday evening, basically, and you get to chat with yeah, the pros when it comes to the car and ask any advice, and you can get some really useful tips from these pro drivers. It's probably the best way to get fast. Setups can get you so far, but really to get that next step, you need that little bit of extra tuition, and Apex Racing Academy provides that. So do check out apexracingac.com if you want to get faster in the Porsche 992 or the Formula 3 or any single-seaters or the touring cars or the rallycross cars. Lots of stuff covered. 29 cars, in fact, covered by Apex Racing Academy. And also, anyone who is watching this back and wants to have a chat with us next week, well, there is a link to the TV Discord in the description below. Also, a link to a few other places as well, such as the Apex Racing League Discord as well. If you go to the TV Discord and then you sit in the interview waiting area, as long as you have your name set correct in the server, we will drag you up and we'll have a chat with you. As long as you took part in the race, we are happy to have a chat during the race. Or after the race, sorry. Probably not during the race. Also,
If you want to chat during the race, it might not be the best finish for you. Let's just say that.
we've done it in NASCAR, haven't we?
We've done it in
caution.
NASCAR,
That's
but
really the only
I'm pretty
chance.
sure a safety car here is not ever going to happen unless we have an entire track blockage situation. And looking at the schedule, is there any chance for a track blockage?
So they're all big circuits. That's the issue, Austin. I mean, if we had a
So
Long
no.
Beach, we'd guarantee one. But we've got Silverstone International. Through the cut through. Do you even know what Silverstone International is, Austin? Because I feel like
I
calling it
do.
international isn't very descriptive of what it's like.
I do know what Silverstone International is because I run touring car, and that
Of
is
course.
that is on the schedule for next season's touring car series.
Yeah, and then we got Red Bull Ring, Watkins Glen. We could have a pile up there through the S's on that part.
Oh yeah, definitely. I've seen so many safety cars in Watkins Glen, it's not even funny.
And then Nürburgring, T1 wreck. And then even though you don't really have a pile up, but you will have crashes. So
Yes, the first 2 chicanes, Villeneuve is where I usually see it. You could have it exiting Villeneuve and entering the hairpin. I've seen this in Formula 3. It's also where I got my first Formula 3 win. Where cars went wide in Villeneuve and they came across the track and just completely blocked it with debris, which was beautiful to see in my rearview mirror. I did not
can
cause it, I
imagine.
must say.
No. Yeah, but yeah, that is a nice sight as a driver to see all that chaos going on behind you. I think that pretty much wraps us up then for this evening. Austin, did you want to conclude any remarks from tonight? What you thought about the action? Any surprises tonight?
I'm not surprised by the finishing results. I'm excited by the number of drivers signed up, and I'm very excited by how awesome this race series is, the most competitive race series, and I'm just excited. That's the one word I can say. I'm excited. Race number 1 did not disappoint. Race number 2 not disappoint. Round number 1 did not disappoint. Let's bring on round number 2.
Definitely, and that'll be on the same time next week at Silverstone International Circuit. If you want to take part in this series, usually I would say go sign up. Unfortunately, it's sold out. We filled all the slots. However, if you join our Discord, and there's a link to that in the description, Apex Racing League, that's our Discord. If you join that, then we will post an announcement when we reopen entries. It should be after round 3 or so, halfway through the season. But you can also sign up to loads of other series on Apex Racing League. So you can join the final few rounds of our Formula 4 Championship. That's on a Saturday evening. You can join our GT3 Trophy Championship. That's got just as many cars as this, pretty much. That's on a Tuesday evening. And we've also going to have a few more series starts up as well in the near future. So join our Discord. Check out the website, apexracingleague.com. And yeah, get signed up for one of our championships. Of course, big shouts out once again to Virtual Racing School, to SDK Gaming, and to Apex Racing Academy for sponsoring this series. If you've enjoyed this stream, do leave a like on it. It really helps us with the algorithm and all that. And also subscribe to the channel as well. Click the notification button, and then you can see whenever we go live. We've got some more good racing coming up later on in the week. I think lots of stuff at Spa is sort of the theme for this week, with the big event that is going on in the future. But in fact, our next one is on Saturday. That's going to be the 3.5 Championship, the Formula 3.5 that is. Then we've got Spec Racer Ford, IGP Fun in the Formula 3 cars, iRacing Israel League on Monday, and also Vicmotech on Tuesday, and then we'll be back with us on the Wednesday. So do check out the channel and check out our social media platforms as well on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. But for now, from myself, Sam Fitzpatrick, from Austin Knight, and from Luis Araya, we are going to say goodbye, and we'll see you back at Silverstone in a week's time for round 2 of the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup Championship. See you then.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers, including Peter Berryman, John Robertson, Brandon Trano, and IndyCar world champion Alex Palou. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.